Banana. No, I'm just kidding. Duolingo doesn't have Minionese, but it actually already has High Valerian, Klingon, and Esperanto, all of which are constructed languages, so maybe we'll get the banana language soon. In my video about Firish from the movie Elemental, so many people commented about their favorite conlang being Minionese.
Big fan.
And after watching the Despicable Me series, I realized that no matter what your level of English is, you can communicate better if you talk more like a minion and worry less about your words. And if you're into languages, subscribe to my channel to get my insights about accents in movies. The story goes, the minions traveled the world looking for the ultimate villain, so it makes sense that their language seems like it incorporates so many others. Even just the name. In English, a minion's a lackey, a stooge, a yes man. Not a flattering description. But if you add the letter G, like it is in French, you get
Mignon, like the meat.
And it's perfect, since it means cute in French.
That sounded so much better in French.
And how is it that the Minions' language sounds so familiar to everyone worldwide, all these multilingual audiences? Since the Minions have traveled all over, it's no wonder they have bits of lots of languages incorporated into Minionese, which sometimes seems like gibberish. And sometimes when we don't understand something, we decide not to understand.
But now I'm not going to bother.
But our brains want to figure out puzzles, and we want to understand what the Minions are saying, even when it's ambiguous. So, when we decide we're gonna work a little harder, like when we listen to the gibberish of the Minions, we're rewarded. Even if your first and only language is English, that doesn't mean all sentences make sense. Maybe the grammar's right, but the words don't make sense when you put them together. Or maybe something sounds like a real word, even if it's made up nonsense. And the Minions have the same trouble when they're listening to English, but they can sometimes pick out a word that they do know.
No tomfoolery.
Tom?
And we have the same choice. We can dismiss something that doesn't make sense, or we can be curious.
I feel like I forgot how to be curious.
If we can benefit by tolerating our ambiguity to be curious with the Minions, well, we can easily do the same in a multilingual work or a social setting. For example, some words just don't translate into English perfectly.
Sometimes it doesn't translate.
And I love learning those words or phrases in other languages. So if you have one, explain it to us down in the comments. Pronunciation mistakes can get you into trouble, it's true.
Lucky 6. Aw, Lucky, I said sit.
But there's another word that starts with the letter P. It's an important part of accents, and it isn't pronunciation. It's prosody, which is more like the melody of the language. I think of it as the music we hear behind the words. And a big part of the melody in Minionese and English is rhythm and intonation. Imagine your neighbors watching a movie and the volume is up pretty loud. You can't hear the pronunciation of the words, but you can usually tell which words are important, even if you can't make out what the words actually are. Important words follow a pattern, even if you don't know what the words mean. So notice the stressed words the Minion says. Can you hear the rhythm? Also, could you tell from his pitch pattern going up sharply that he's trying to surprise us? From intonation, we know the feelings and the intentions of the speaker, like when someone's surprising you. Listen to the intonation in this other clip and guess how they are feeling. And here's a good example of rhythm and intonation together. You can hear some words are stressed stronger, and his intonation sounds like he's encouraging them.
No! Non è stronga! Non è forte! Non è besta! Panini di cornetto! E salami!
So even when your words are basic, or you have pronunciation mistakes, you can lean into rhythm and intonation to connect and communicate just like the Minions. And if those patterns are different in your first language and that's making you feel like you aren't as expressive in English, I can help. I have 12 free live monthly masterclasses just on different prosody topics. Everything from syllable stress to advanced intonation. So if you'd like to master your prosody for better communication, click on the link below to get invited to the next prosody party. You can tell they're having a great time just from how they look. Pronunciation and prosody matter, don't get me wrong, but body language and context can make or break your communication. For example, what do you take from the Minion's gestures here? To me, these gestures say,
"Oh no, he didn't."
And even human babies let us know how they feel too, and that's before they're verbal or even use intonation. For example, look at baby Gru's expressions. How does he feel about dad versus mom?
I know you love your dada.
Yes, of course he loves you. He just doesn't show it on his face or with his body language. Right, Gru Jr., come on.
Minions wear their hearts on their sleeves, which you might want to do too in order to be a better communicator.
I'm an open book.
Also, context can clue us in if pronunciation isn't helpful. For example, based on what's happening in this scene, what words would you use to substitute for the Minion saying maki mako? In fact, you might be missing out on jokes that rely on body language, context, and spoken language altogether. For example, I want to see if you noticed my favorite joke in Despicable Me 4. I'll give you a clue. It has to do with the words elimination and illumination. If you can explain the joke, bonus, write it down in the pinned comments. And the most important thing when you can't understand someone else's pronunciation, like the Minions or anyone else's, is to focus on comprehensibility.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
If you're understanding what someone is saying, then it's intelligible. Intelligibility is if you're understanding what someone is saying. Do you hear the Minions saying complex, compound sentences with embedded or non-restrictive clauses?
No, you do not.
The essence of communication is connecting with people and getting your message to them. And the Minions are great at communication. Clear and concise wins over circuitous and complex most of the time. And for this, we have a saying, in case you don't know it. It's KISS. No. Not like that.
Means keep it simple, stupid. Not kiss.
Let's say you're at a job interview and you want to make a good impression. But your perfectionism causes panic. But then you end up sounding worse than if you used simple phrases and vocabulary you know well. So take a page from the Minions book and use shorter phrases to get your point across clearly and concisely, so that you don't let your obsession for perfect pronunciation and grammar overshadow your message.
Simplify. Simplify.
But if you do want to polish your pronunciation, there's nothing wrong with that either. Watch these videos to get your E and I and your E and A in order. I'm Accent Coach Bianca, and I'm on a mission to help people understand accents better. See you in the next video.
Favia.